I'm not proud to be an American where no one is really free. And we do forget the people who died because we killed so many. I don't wanna stand up next to you. It's time to take a knee, because there ain't no doubt that no one wins with white supremacy.
You ever notice that it's always a white liberal who says this stuff? If I had $1 for every DM I've gotten this week asking me to please explain what is going on in Cuba, I would take all that money, then I would click the link in our bio and donate it to POPlitics so I can get new paper cups that aren't cones. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back immediately and watch the bloopers from last Saturday. Anyways, I am going to explain the Cuba stuff much simpler and faster than any other conservative commentator. Then I've got the receipts on all the woke, joker, Hollywood hypocrites who hate America but love Cuba. Paris Hilton is coming to Netflix, and we have a brand new Pop Culture Rewind. I'm AlexClark, and this is POPlitics. In Cuba, the government controls everything, literally everything. Every store, every school, every gas station, every hospital. So why are the Cuban people protesting? What was it that broke the camel's back, so to speak? Simple answer, people are starving to death and they have reached their breaking point with the government.
I'm over it. I don't need this anymore.
Recently, the government overstepped yet again by devaluing the peso and taking the US dollar out of circulation. This leaves Cuban citizens with less money. One of their only resources is through family members who send US dollars into Cuba. But get this, all of those US dollars end up going straight to the government because they control all the stores.
Your stuff? There is no your stuff.
People already couldn't afford food, but even if they could, they'd be lucky to get into a grocery store since waiting in line takes about 8 hours.
There will be no eating. E-A-T-I-N-G.
The average Cuban makes 300 to 400 Cuban pesos every month. It takes 24 Cuban pesos to make $1 US. So if you're making 400 pesos a month, you're making only about 16 US dollars.
I only have like $3.50, so it's hard. Super hard.
The inflation there is so bad that a bag of rice alone costs over 20 Cuban pesos.
Plain white rice, plain white rice.
And look at this guy. He got a bunch of crappy fruit and it costs as much as his monthly salary.
3 aguacates y 3 mangos. Bueno, en realidad es un manguito. Vean el tamaño. Igual vean el aguacate súper chiquitico. Todo esto costó 62 pesos cubanos exactamente.
Can you imagine living on this yourself for a month, let alone your entire family?
Hello, human rights violation.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand why the Cuban people have had enough of communism.
Well, what's there to eat?
The Cuban government is deliberately starving their citizens to death in order to maintain control over them.
I'll admit it. I will eat my neighbors.
So here's the conservative. The government is making it even more difficult for the Cuban people to buy and sell the things they need to survive. Frankly, this is completely disgusting, and it is such a complex issue that I encourage all of you to look into it further. It's really important for everyone to understand the evil that happens under socialism.
You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail.
So that's what's going on in Cuba. Now that you're in the know on that, just wait till I tell you which social justice warrior celebrities have enjoyed vacations or promoted movies there. You will understand just how disgusting it is and why conservatives have absolutely had it with these stars talking about how evil America is while turning a blind eye to the real injustices happening in other parts of the world.
That's just plain wrong.
So who made the list? Thanks to Breitbart, we have some names.
I have a list.
Beyonce Beyonce and Jay-Z start us off with their highly publicized vacation to Havana in 2013. FYI, the year before they visited in 2012, political arrests in Cuba jumped to more than 6,600, the highest it had been in decades.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Then there's Rihanna, who has accused the United States of terrorism against illegal immigrants. She went to Havana in 2015 for a Vanity Fair photo shoot with stars like Katy Perry, Usher, and Ludacris. That same year, the Cuban government issued a demolition order for every church in the Abel Santa Maria district in the southern city of Santiago de Cuba.
Don't throw any up here. I'm leaving. No up here.
During Katy Perry's visit, she said the country had one of the coolest vibes alive.
It's selfish, and selfish is not a vibe. Not a vibe.
It's the hypocrisy for me, TBH.
You ate your last hot dog. It must have been some hot dog. Was it a good hot dog?
It was.
It was chili on it, and I had some chips to juice. Oh dear.
Bro, remember when I showed you Paris Hilton cooking lasagna on her YouTube channel? It was super viral last year.
Keep it juicy. Usually I should use a bigger pan, but whatever. This fell on the side. It's disgusting. So again with this, I'm not sure of the exact measurement of what you're supposed to do, but this is what I do every time. Just go like, oh no.
Ina Garten is shaking, and apparently so is Netflix, because they love that video so much that now they've ordered Cooking with Paris to be on the streaming service early August.
I'm gonna get another piece of cheese, because I'm scared I'm gonna start grinding my fingers off. That's why I wear my chef gloves. They're usually for sliving, but now that it's 2020, you're still gonna see sliving, but sliving it in a different way.
If Paris doesn't drop chef gloves as merch for this show, I'm sana-sighing all the way to Hulu.
The bus driver said you're supposed to keep that noise down.
If you're enjoying yourself, and most importantly, enjoying me, tap the heart button on your screen before you forget. Not enjoying me? Tap it anyways.
You have only one choice.
Ready to see what happened this week in pop culture history? Sit down, get comfy. It's Pop Culture Rewind time. This week in 1923, the Hollywood sign was officially dedicated in the hills above Los Angeles, California. It originally read Hollywood Land, but the 4 last letters were dropped after a renovation in 1949. This week in 1933, the Nazi eugenics plan began with the proclamation of the law for the prevention of hereditarily diseased offspring, which called for the compulsory sterilization of any citizen who suffered from alleged genetic disorders. Wow. The similarity between that and abortion? Astounding.
President Hindenburg signed a decree that suspended all basic civil rights and constitutional protections, providing the basis for arbitrary police actions. The new government's first targets were political opponents. Under the emergency decree, they could be terrorized, beaten, and held indefinitely.
In 1960, Jane Goodall, one of my favorite women in history, began her famous study of chimpanzees in the wild. This is Jane Goodall now. She's 87.
She often slept there to be with them at the first light of dawn.
There's a special fascination about the sudden nightfall in the forest.
21 years ago, in 2001, Legally Blonde premiered. What? Like it's hard?
I'm able to recall hundreds of important details at the drop of a hat.
In 2002, Fox News Channel became the #1 cable TV news service of the U.S., beating longtime champ CNN. A few years later, in 2006 this week, Twitter was launched. Not sure if we should cheer or boo.
Forget blogging and MySpace. If you really want to stay connected, there is a new service, and supposedly it is the next big thing. It's a name you can't forget. It's called Twitter.
And then, in 2008, the queen, the one, the only, Wendy Williams premiered The Wendy Williams Show in syndication.
It's a matter of time. She's not lonely.
That's what happened this week in pop culture history. Are you sliving? Dude, I'm leaving for SAS tomorrow. Do you understand that I have nothing to watch on this plane? I'll probably just re-listen to old Tim Dillon episodes, let's be honest. But tomorrow, I am obviously in here like swim gear. Is that the saying? For another episode at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific before heading to Tampa. You're definitely not gonna wanna miss this episode either because I will be sharing a secret code for you to try and figure out what the next Pop Doc is about. As always, be sure to tune in because that is dropping next week. Tap the heart, it's like a tip, okay, for my service. Cooking with Paris, your jam or your jelly? I know you've probably been asked what's going on in Cuba by friends, so tag them in the comments and share this episode to your stories, please. Make sure you also tap that save button. It's pop culture without the propaganda every single day. I'm AlexClark, and this is POPlitics. Click below to watch yesterday's episode. Please subscribe, thumbs up, share this video, and ring the bell for notifications so you never miss the conservative. And make sure you're following this show at POPlitics on Instagram for even more CUTEservative content.